The session we've had this morning has been a great exemplar of that. We've had industry talks, and we've had them interspersed with talks from companies that are developing devices. So both the platforms, the quality management system software providers, but also those actually using quality management systems to bring devices to market. We've had a highly interactive session. Great, lots of questions on all sides, lots of questions from the audience. We've almost had too many questions. And collaboration is all about talking in the end. How can tooling help? How can platforms help? What are the problems faced in the industry? What are notified bodies expecting? What are the regulators expecting? All of those issues were addressed. So one of the focuses of our session this morning was on the AI Act, the medical device regulations, the in vitro diagnostic device regulations, but how they intersect with the new requirements of the AI Act. So every time a new legislation comes along, obviously industry has to recalibrate, the notified bodies have to recalibrate, the platform providers have to recalibrate, and we all have to speak together in order to see how the new regulations will be enforced, what standards are coming, share opinions about how things can be addressed from a developer's perspective, but also what tooling is needed and what can already be provided from the platform level. So sometimes we're talking a lot about regulation, both for clinical studies, standards for clinical studies, and standards for devices. Sometimes it can all seem impossible. You can get new entrants coming to the market and they just look at it and think, they look once, they walk away, they just think it's impossible. And it is actually possible, and sharing that information on how other companies have done it and what interpretations are required from notified bodies, sometimes having that conversation, the message can be that it's not impossible. And also in terms of tooling, software for device quality management systems, CROs in this space, it does help to have a dialogue. We don't always need to use the services from these companies. They're there if we need them, but we can also see the types of approaches that they're using, and we can look where we bring those into our companies, or we can engage them as consultants where they're needed. The most transformative is going to be the way that we see and use data. We're increasingly having changed in the data landscape. We've got the European health data space that's starting in Germany. There's a health data law across the entirety of the European Union. There are health data laws that are coming into force in each country. There's also on the US side, there are new laws on data sharing. Increasingly at the same time, we're seeing more joined up digital solutions being introduced into daily care. And those include the large language model based ambient systems for medical consultation recording, recording of clinical notes. That's all going to have an impact on the availability and the joined upness of clinical data. That's going to bring about, in the next 5 years, a revolution on the way we see clinical studies, performance monitoring, registries. There's going to start to be an acknowledgement that data can be joined up in the health system, and that devices are joined up in the health system, and that our monitoring approaches can be joined up in the health system to enable actually faster approvals. It's not all about monitoring to slow things down, where are the problems, it's monitoring. It's having joined up data outside silos was mentioned quite a lot in the talks this morning. Having data which is actually extending beyond individual devices, extending from the health system to manufacturers, from manufacturers to the health systems, where we can actually have a mini revolution in 5 years, bigger in 10 years, in terms of the complete way that we see the data within the medical device space. I have had a super session. I've been a chair of a session, so it's been quite hyperactive. My experience is obviously different as a chair, but I found a really positive spirit of collaboration, and I've been really impressed by the quality and standard of the presentations. We had a presentation on the implementation of the AI Act from a German company bringing a new product to the market, which I would say was an absolutely world-class presentation in terms of setting out how to address bringing an AI device to market, conversations with the FDA, conversations with the notified body. I've not seen a better presentation, which included the challenges, included how to address those challenges. A really outstanding presentation.